Good evening and welcome back to the Fallout Bar after the final night of the last 16 at the World Matchplay for 2026. Special show tonight, not just because it's Jarlath Eaton's birthday, but it is the return, first of all, of Dave Connolly for the first time this week. And also we have Anthony Eugenia, the Chief Operations Officer of the CDC. How are you, Anthony?
I'm doing well, Cam. Thanks for having me tonight. Hey, Dave, how are you doing today? And how's things?
I'm great. Yeah, this is starting to get into the nitty-gritty of the tournament. We're through the first two rounds. We've seen some surprises. We've seen some things go mostly as planned, and tonight was no different in terms of eventful. Yeah, ready to get into it.
Yeah, very much feeling outnumbered here tonight with the two from the North American side of the things tonight.
Lots of funny accents on the show tonight.
Yeah.
Mine's probably the worst of the lot, to be honest, in terms of funny accents. So, yeah, we will get straight into it. And obviously, we'll start off with the first game of the night that obviously we didn't get to see what we wanted to see, which was what started off as a very good game. But obviously, Cammy Mensy's taken unwell. By all accounts, it was a blood pressure issue, the PDC have said, and he's been checked out. He's all okay and gone back to where he's staying for the week. So good news there. Obviously, sad for him that he wasn't able to carry on after such a big win in the first round, but health comes first, and obviously good to see that he's doing okay and been able to just go back to where he's staying.
Yeah, when I saw him sort of collapse a little, I didn't know if it was heat related. You know, Blackpool can get quite hot at times, and the dehydration issues. You don't know, was he out during the day getting a little too much sun? So it'll be curious to find out a little bit more about the report. And memory serves, he hasn't had any incidents like this, has he?
No, not as far as I know. It seemed very much sort of out of the blue, and you could tell that something wasn't right straight away. At first, he sort of looked like he was pointing to his ear a little bit, and you're like, is it like a vertigo or something like that? But yeah, apparently his blood pressure was the issue, but it sort of come back down, and hopefully all good, and we'll see him back next time in the next tournament. But yeah, sad for him today, but for Ross Smith, just got to take your chances where they come, haven't you? And it's a free pass through to the next round and an opportunity to go on and potentially make a semi-final at the World Matchplay.
Yeah, I feel so much for Cammy because he's always been a guy who has struggled on stage. It started to get bad last year at this tournament when if anyone remembers, he threw the maximum when he was, I believe, 178. Yeah. He collapsed and had a classic Cammy reaction to that and just complete no-showed. And his floor play was pretty good all of last year. Had the complete incident at Worlds against Charlie Manby with the table, and that kind of sent him in a spiral. And then the last few months, we've seen him back on the floor, and he's been doing really well. And you thought, all right, maybe he's back. And then, he beats Humphreys.
Yeah.
Now it feels like he's arrived on the stage. Maybe this will give him the confidence he needs. And who knows? He has the raw talent to be a top 12 to 16 player, no doubt. He puts up averages on the floor that blow your mind more often than not. And I mean, just the timing of this is so brutal because you really thought Ross Smith, he could beat Ross Smith. Like, he could make a run here. And so for this to happen is just such brutal timing. I hope he's okay. It sounds like he's obviously going to be fine. And hopefully he can just get past this and take more away from what he did a few nights ago against Humphreys and use that as a building block for the back half of the year. Because if he starts getting some confidence, I'm telling you, he's going to be a guy who could surprise a lot of people in some majors this year.
Yeah, it's that thing, isn't it? Like, firstly, obviously, as long as he's okay health-wise, that's the best thing. But also, he's not been beat on this stage this week. So there's still plenty of positives to take away from it. To beat the world number 2. Like, there's lots of positives to go into the rest of the year for him. We'll get on to sort of the actual sort of darting action that we saw then and start off with the second game of the night. Two people that had to handle being on stage earlier than they were expecting and had to sort of get up for the game and ready for the game in less time than they would usually have liked to do so. But Jan van Veen up against Wessel Nimman, and this one kind of went the way that a few of us thought it might last night, that if it went close, it went to extra legs, you just fancied that under pressure, Jan might be the one that just managed to get over the line. And it was that way in the end, but he was certainly put under pressure for most of this game and was not looking like the winner until the point where he won, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, even though they were rushed a bit, they really didn't seem to be too bothered by it. They fell into pace, and it was, they shared in the first 2 sessions, shared 4-1s, and really high averages. So they came out competitive, and like you said, it was that Van Veen just being able to dig in just that little bit extra at different moments with the 1-4-8 to make it 11-11, and then a 12 darter late in the match to go up 13-12. Just hitting those right notes at the right moment.
Yeah, like you say, those sort of last dart in hand moments. The 1-4-8. Vessel was waiting on 64, I think, at that time as well. So he was right under pressure and could have gone out at that moment if he doesn't take that checkout. I was actually really impressed that next leg, the way that Vessel bounced back as well and was able to win, to go back 12-11 in front after having that happen to him the leg before. But like you say, the 12 darter was just magic from Jan. And then the last leg was not quite as clinical, but he did what he needed to get over the line at that point, Dave.
Yeah, it's interesting. Vessel kind of reminds me in a way of Jan like 2 years ago. Like a player who has shown it on the floor. He's young. He has that potential. Everyone's just kind of waiting for the pieces to fall into place for the player. And he's just getting close, and you're just watching him, and you're like, man, if he just keeps at it, don't lose the confidence, keep showing up to as many, get qualified for as many TV majors as you can. And it's just going to fall into place eventually. And I still feel that way about Vessel. I know he's got plenty of critics, plenty of people thinking he just doesn't quite have the bottle to do it on the cameras and in the big moments. But I thought this was a pretty impressive performance for him. I believe he out-averaged Van Veen. And he was really close to winning this, and we'd be singing a completely different tune if just a visit or two goes a different way. So, I was encouraged with what I saw. It stinks for him to not get to a quarterfinal with how he's been. I mean, he's been outrageous on the floor this year. But yeah, credit to Jan. This is what happens when you play in the Premier League, when you, like I said, continue to show up to these events, when you qualify for them, and just get beat and just get back up on your feet and move on and learn from it. And it feels like he's kind of a year or two behind that process in the way that Jan kind of took his licks and now got to being number 3 in the world.
Yeah, I think with this one as well, I think the biggest credit to him is he didn't bottle this at all. Like, it wasn't like he fell away. Like, he was on tops after 12 in that second to last leg, the 25th leg. He was left on tops after 12 darts. You can't do a lot more than that. Like, it took magic to beat him in that leg. And then the final leg, he's had a bit of a wobble from 170. He's not took it out in 6, but that happens plenty. Like, it's not like he's had an absolute howler and missed 10, 15 at double. He was 50% on the outer ring in the match as well. So I think plenty of positives there for him as well, but it will sting a little bit at this point.
And they talked about that this could be a rivalry for these two young players for years to come. And it's amazing to think about that in the era of the two Lukes, that there could be these two coinciding rivalries, two young Dutch players, two young English players that are just essentially at the top of the game, throwing just masterful stuff. And it just, even though I think they had mentioned that Nimman was maybe second favorite for the tournament based on, just sort of how he's been playing for the year. But I mean, Van Veen just, to your comment a few minutes ago, he showed that poise and that, coming in as the 3 seed, he's really got to be considered a true contender for this title.
Yeah, definitely. Fully agree with you on that one. The next game of the night was Gerwyn Price up against Rob Cross. And this one, numbers-wise, doesn't look awful, Dave, on the stats. But it didn't feel great from Rob Cross after a pretty good start where he led 2-1 early on and 3-2 it was, at the break in the in the first session. But just from there on, it felt like he was always half a dart behind Gezi almost.
Yeah, I needed to see something like this from Gezi. There's been so many distractions. I was there at the U.S. Masters, and he didn't seem like his presence has just been weird the last few months, whether it's been in interviews, social media, on stage. He just doesn't feel like his focus is 100% on playing darts right here, right now, the event that he's at, these kind of things. And I know focus can be a little difficult in the first half of the year with everything so backloaded, but I just needed to see him kind of, I know Cross sort of handed it to him, but I needed to see him kind of mow someone over rather than just fall over the line like he's been doing or get beat. So I think if you asked me 6 months ago, I would have felt really confident about him making some noise and perhaps finally getting that first major in the last few years. This year, I think I'm a little stock down, but this helped prove that, it's in there. And the talk after the first round, he was saying that he hasn't been practicing as much, like all these things that he's brutally honest, which I appreciate, but all these things you don't want to hear a guy who is, arguably third, fourth best player in the world, definitely third, and probably has the only ceiling that can really compete with the two Lukes right now that we've at least seen. Like, he has the stage presence. Like, he has everything that darts needs as kind of that third horseman to go alongside the two Lukes. And to hear him say things like he's not practicing and he's on the videos of him wrestling pigs, it's just like, what are we doing? Like, I just, I want
the right preparation for the game of darts. No.
I want to see more from him in the second half of the year. And maybe this will be the he said he's been lacking confidence because he has been practicing. So maybe this is what he needed.
Yeah, quite possibly. For Rob Cross, Anthony, this game, his scoring was actually probably slightly better than it was in his first game against Danny Noppert, but the struggles really came on the outer ring, didn't they, in this one?
Yeah, they did it. You didn't see that cross confidence that you do normally in these games. And he's a prior winner of this event, and this is one where it was disappointing to see him come out in that second session and not take a leg. You just felt that there wasn't a lot in the tank for him to make any sort of comeback. So, when they stepped off that stage and it was 7-3 Price, it was pretty much done. It was just a formality at that point.
Yeah, he felt that way. And like you say, after coming back with I think it was a 11 dart breaker throw to get back to 2-2 and then winning that decisive leg very comfortably in the fifth leg, you kind of felt like all the momentum was with him going into the break. And you thought, he's gone off stage buzzing here, and then
certainly on. to your point, because it opened up in Price's favor, so it almost felt like it was flat, and then Cross came to life a bit. So you went into that first break thinking, oh, okay, hold on, we're going to have a good match here. We've got 2 ex-world champions, 2 experienced pros. This is going to be a belter, and then it just went completely flat.
Yeah, that was it. And then, like I say, from that point of 7-3, and then he loses the first leg out the break on throw as well, it just never felt like he was going to get back into it, did it, Dave?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna see. I wanted to hear, like, to Dave's point about where Gerwyn's head was. Is the same thing apply for Price? I mean, Cross, with where is his head? From a performance like that to go in towards the second half of the year.
Well, that's it. He mentioned obviously the other day, didn't he, that he's obviously single now. Darts is all he's got to focus on. I think he may have forgotten that he's got 4 kids, but that's But that was the point, that it seems like he wants to have a good year. He's focused. He's on it. But this performance didn't show it, did it, Dave?
No, and I think he's at sort of a pivot point in his career where he's, obviously things have changed in his personal life, and now he grinded and was able to get into this match play. Maybe didn't quite get as far as he had hoped, but I think he got about as far as most people would have expected. And now, he's got a chance to go all in on the back half of the year and really try to make some noise and get his way back up the rankings. And I'm interested to see what comes of it, and if he can continue this bit of hot form he's been on the last few months, whether it's on the floor or in the bigger tournaments, because he's one of those players. I mean, obviously we know it's in there, and he's he's got top 8 ability when his throw is together. And I think he's always had a pretty good mindset. I think he's relatively level-headed. And I think he had to get through maybe some things in the last 12 months that were obviously very difficult. And well, I'm interested to see. I think he's someone who certainly could rise the ranks if he can just put in more good performances and continue to qualify for things. And he's certainly someone players don't want to see, no matter what he's seeded or if he's seeded at all, because he's got the experience to, he's never going to get too attacked by the moment, unlike some guys who are higher in the rankings than him.
Fair point.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, he's one of those players. Like we've seen him absolutely dismantle the greatest player of all time in a world final. Like he's literally has that quality. And when you look at the rankings, you see him down at 23 in the world. It looks wrong. He shouldn't be anywhere near that. He's a far better player than that.
Yeah, it belittles his talent to see him at 23.
I agree.
Yeah, hopefully we see him get back to something like his best. Someone that we did see back to something like the best was very much James Wade in this final game this evening and the last game in the last 16. Almost 100 average, which when James Wade averages almost 100, that's basically like anyone else rocking up and doing what Littler did to Aspinall the other day. Like the way that he finishes and the way that he closes games out, he was excellent against Ryan Searle tonight, Anthony.
Yeah. Well, first off, a wonderful, wonderful piece by Sky to open up the segment where they sat James down, and this is his 21st match play, and they showed the 2006 match play where he made the final against Taylor, and it was a really great piece and just sort of set the tone of what a legendary guy that we're watching. And it was a typical James Wade performance, taking advantage of each and every opportunity. Not that he wasn't giving himself opportunities, but he's the epitome of he will sweep up any opportunities, any chances. He's going to be super solid. Like you said, it's for him to be throwing that average. It's just dangerous because he's also got the out shooting. Just it's always going to be clinical. He doesn't really let the moment get to him, and it was just a wonderful James Wade performance. I mean, it's again another sort of kind of statement match that it may not have been super fireworks, but it was very, very solid.
Yeah, exactly that, and it had to be as well, didn't it, Dave? Because Ryan Searle played very well here. It's not like he's had a bad day at the office and let James sort of walk all over him. He's pushed him all the way, and the way that he sort of fought back after sort of trading breaks a throw early on, and then he gets it back sort of level, goes down, loses a break a throw at 7-5, and lesser players than him from then going to 8-5 down as James Holdstroll would have crumbled and not got another leg on the board. But the way that he fought back and gave himself that opportunity to still push him all the way, I thought was really good from him, even though he's come out on the wrong side of it.
Yeah, this was such a mentality game for me because, at least in my opinion, the two hardest places to play darts are when you're like just the dart ahead, like your opponent's on your heels every single dart. So every double you throw, every dart you throw just feels so much more important because you're like, man, if I mess up, he's right there. And then being like the slight favorite because you're expected to win, but if you lose, like, he was both of those tonight, and he didn't blink once. He was a dart, a visit ahead of Ryan in almost every leg. He's a few legs up on him. But you're looking and you're like, oh, if Ryan gets this break, maybe it gets interesting. And I mean, the perfect like microcosm of the entire match was Ryan on 186 there at the end, bangs in a max, the crowd's excited, and before anyone can even put their 180 sign up, first start into the double 12, thanks, shake my hand. Like, it's just
zero messing about.
It was perfect business like James Wade. It's why he's so freaking good. It's why his averages don't matter, because he can just do this and just have you at arm's length the entire match. And as much as you get close to him, as much as you want to try to hit him, he just won't flinch. And it was a classic James Wade match. And yeah, Ryan, whenever he gets any sort of resistance like that, he just, I guess, struggles on the big stages. I mean, we remember his run to the quarters at Worlds it was semis, right? this past year. His run to the semis there was just not a lot of resistance. I believe the first like 3 rounds of the tournament, he didn't lose a set, I think it was. So I don't know. He just struggles to punch up a lot of the time, Ryan does. He's great at taking care of people beneath him, but punching up's not always great for him. So we'll see what he does back end of the year. But yeah, great James Wade performance, vintage.
Yeah, I thought the double 12 to finish it off, it sort of reminded me of Ryan Fox on Sunday at the Open. Like, no messing about. He's up there and hit that putt before any chance to sort of panic about it or worry about it or get into any sort of stress. It's one of those now that we look at James Wade here, like it's a 14th match play quarterfinal that he's made now from 21 visits to the Winter Gardens. It's a remarkable record. Are we genuinely looking at him now and saying he could win this tournament this week? I'll let either of you go on that. Just drop that in on there.
Dave looks ready to answer.
It's just like, no. Because if we had him and Littler last year, and I feel like everything that could have gone right for James went right, and he still lost. Like Littler, I remember was missing. He was having 3 darts, like clean visits at a double, and missing. And James was coming. I mean, I think I'm trying to remember. They went into like a second break where it was like 6-4 or something. And the average was like, there was like a 15-point gap. Like it was ridiculous. And it still wasn't enough. So if James shows up, I mean, we saw, last year he beat him on a big stage. I'm trying to remember the tournament. I know it was back end of the year. But I don't know. I just don't. I want to see it, but I don't. But this is what he does. He proves me wrong all the time. So take my word for a grain of salt.
I think in my mind, the 2 parts of it. Can he win it? Yes. I think this is an event, this particular event, you can never, ever, ever take James Wade off the table. Will he win it? I don't think so. Yeah, just glancing still at the players in here, I would put my money in at least 3 players, maybe 4 that I would put him as an underdog against. So it would be a tough lift, but again, as Dave says, these are the things that James Wade makes people just regret their choices.
Yeah, I mean, he may have just
years now.
He may have just played his last match as the pre-match favorite of the tournament. It's looking likely if he gets Van Veen, Price, and then Littler. I think maybe Anderson would be a favorite over him. I don't know. It'd be close.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think it'll be close on who's the favorite in the next round. I'm trying to see if the odds are up yet. Yeah. Jan's a slight favorite at the moment with the bookies. So yeah, I think you're probably right. I think it'd be unlikely to see him going as the betting favorite into any of them.
I don't disagree with that. I think Wade will give him a problem, but I don't disagree with those odds.
Yeah.
So it is then time for predictions for tomorrow.
Phil's done a good job. He's kicked up the music.
I know. I tell you what, he's unbelievable work in the background from Mr. Bars, as always, the hardest working man in darts, as we know. So we go on to tomorrow, and we're down to 2 games a night, which might mean that we get finished a little bit earlier. Whether it does or not, we'll wait and see. Not too bad for you guys on the other side of the pond, but over here it's a late one. And we start off tomorrow with Dirk van Dijvenbode up against Gary Anderson.
David,
you first, Anthony.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, this one's me and Phil Bars are 2 peas in a pod when it comes to Mr. Anderson. So it's going to be very difficult. Unless it was completely outlandish to make the pick, I'm going to go with Gary. I'm going to.
First to 16 now.
Yes.
Remember, at this stage, obviously get your predictions in the chat room as well, and we'll throw some of them up on the screen as well.
I don't think Dirk is going to be in the same form that he was against Michael. But if I've got to give a score line, I'm going to go 16-9.
16-9.
Gary Anderson.
Are you going the same way, Dave, or are you thinking that we could get the upset in this one?
I was going to say 16-8. I think I'm right around the same area. I get nervous backing Dirk because he's just one of the most inconsistent players on the tour. Like,
an absolute enigma, isn't he? Like, he could be anything.
No clue what you're going to get out of him, and it's because it comes down to finishing for him. Like, we know he's going to he might end up with the most 180s in the match. He's one of the best 180 hitters in the world. But man, when the doubling's not there, not only is it not there, he'll get frustrated. Quickly, and then he just loses his head. So
Yep, Dave, bingo. That's kind of what I see here. It's sort of like it was his big match to play Michael, and now I think Gary's going to frustrate him, and you'll see legs 6, 7, 8 already. You'll be like, he's just not there mentally.
Yeah. So I think I'll go 16-9. I think it's Dirk's mentality scares me once in a while, so I'll go with that.
They have got a fairly even head-to-head record, actually, closer than I thought it would be. But Gary has won the last 4 in a row, so that alone, I think it's fairly comfortable as well. I'm going to go that Dirk just gets to double figures, but I think it's 16-10, and I don't think it's any more than just getting to double figures. In the chat room, we have got Gordon's got it 16-12 for Ando. Andy Loren's got it 16-8, same as you there. Dave on that one, 16-11 for Kay, and Murdy's got it 16-8 for Ando as well. Second game of the night, and this one is a big favourite in this one. Josh Rock available at 7-1 and above for this one, if you fancy the upset. But Luke Littler takes on Josh Rock in the second game of the evening. Your turn to go first this time, Dave. Which way are you
going? You can't not say Littler. It's like, can we do a spread instead? It's just so. It's
just very American way of looking at it. We're better.
I will say, like, Rock, he's you can visually tell if he's really geared up and focused and into it. Like, yesterday you saw, or was it yesterday or Monday? I can't remember. Oh my God.
Yesterday.
Monday. Okay. He was walking the way he walks when he is really into it. He was like racing back after he grabbed his darts. Like, he is throwing hard. Like, he's at least for me, a very visual player when he's locked in and when he's feeling good.
Yeah.
And when he's like that, I mean, that's what he looked like. That's what he looked like when he was at the World Cup a year and a half ago or a year ago. So, that's the scariest version of Rock I can remember. And I don't know if Luke comes out, it's such a long format. Like, if this was 10 or 11, maybe I'd give him a chance, but I don't know who touches him when it's first to 16. I'll go 16-13. I know we saw this last year at the match play and it was pretty awesome. So I'll go 16-13. But I don't want to put it past Josh because when he's in this kind of mood, he's dangerous.
Yeah, very much so. Same way for you, Anthony, or are you backing the upset?
No, I'm not going to back the upset. I'm actually going to go even more of a win, but I do feel bad for Josh. I think that, out of the 4 players playing tomorrow, he's the second best. So it's sort of like if we put everybody in a little bag, he'd come out with most of favored matches. He's just happened to be in the one that he's going to be completely outgunned. I was so impressed with Littler's performance in the previous round that I just think it's going to be more about Littler and less about Rock. So I'm gonna go really big, 16-5.
16-5. Wow. So I've just been having a look at the sort of head-to-head as well on this one. And Josh Rock had never beaten Luke Littler in the PDC, which is never a good position to be in. They did, as you mentioned, come up against each other in this event in the semi-finals last year when it was 17-14. Both players were excellent. There's a 9-darter in there for Luke as well. And then they've also played over this length of match once before at the Grand Slam as well when it finished 16-12 to Littler. So he has got form for pushing him fairly close in these long matches, and there's not many people that can live with Luke over a long format. So definitely positives there for Josh Rock. But I do think that we've seen it so many times. Like when it goes over 20 legs, he doesn't get beat, does he? Like he just refuses to lose. I think he's lost once, and that was his first World Final and hasn't lost over that distance since in the PDC. So yeah, I think Littler wins, but I think 16-14. I think he pushes him as close as you can get, pretty much, to getting on the upset. He may even be ahead going into that final sort of session, but at that point, the class of Littler just about tells. In the chat room, we have got 16-4 for Littler, another 9 darter and 115 average. If he does that again, then yeah, Rock will not get close. I think that's fair enough. 16-8 for Gordon for Littler, 16-9 for Kate, 16-7 for Paddy, and 16-12 for Jack in there. And Murdy mentions that, yeah, fired up Josh Rock is the best version of him. Yeah, he's very much one of those players, like, even just sort of the pace and the firmness he throws his darts with, you feel like he needs to be pumped up to get the very sort of most out of him. And that is us all done for this evening. Anything that you want to share, Anthony, at this point, to give you your 5 minutes at the end, if you've got anything to sneak in there?
Oh, I mean, obviously, thank you to the online boys and everyone for having me tonight. And just as usual, another great PDC event. These things do roll in, and it's, I don't know that I would use the term, this is the best event ever in the match play. I think there's been others, but you just know as we hit the weekend, it's going to be quality stuff. It's going to be high level darts that are just going to be off the charts. So I'm geeked up.
That's it. We are all absolutely buzzing. I have no idea who's on tomorrow night. It could be any combination of people. I'm away in the camper van up in Edinburgh for the weekend, so I'm done now, but I will definitely still be watching along as always, even if it is just on my phone at night. Dave, thank you very much for joining us as well. And Anthony, pleasure to have you on. Always welcome on the channel, as you know. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow night when we will do it all again.